relation tales. Ray knew he should go to bed, but kept reading another story about a wife cheating. Were these stories real? Could people really do this to someone they loved? These thoughts stuck in Ray's mind, making him feel doubtful and suspicious. He started paying more attention to his wife Pamela, watching her every move. When they went out dancing, he felt uncomfortable if she got too close to other men. He even searched through the laundry for signs she might be cheating. Ray met Pamela at her sister Sandy's wedding, not knowing that Sandy and her new husband were swingers. Ray and Pamela instantly connected and got married a year later. They had 2 kids. Kyle came the next year, and Kayla 2 years after that. From the outside, they looked like a perfect family, but different work shifts meant Ray and Pamela didn't see each other much. Sandy and her husband Bob were known for their wild parties, and Ray didn't like Bob, especially after he caught him flirting with Pamela at their own wedding. Ray and Pamela had agreed not to talk about their past relationships because they both got jealous easily. One day, Pamela asked Ray to fix Sandy's leaky sink. "Sure, I'll check it out," Ray said with a grin. "Maybe I'll do some plumbing while I'm there." Pamela's eyes flashed. "Don't even think about it, mister. That's my sister you're talking about." Ray held up his hands in mock surrender. "Relax, I'm just kidding." But as he headed out the door, he couldn't help but wonder about Sandy and Bob's rumored exploits. Sandy had always been a shameless flirt, even with Ray. But he knew better than to risk his marriage over a fling with his sister-in-law. Didn't he? When Ray arrived at Sandy's house, she greeted him at the door wearing nothing but a flimsy bathrobe. "Come on in," she purred. "Coffee's on if you want some." Ray's mouth went dry. "Ah, thanks. I'll just take a look at that sink." In the kitchen, Ray bent down to examine the pipes under the sink. When he stood up, Sandy was right behind him, her robe hanging open. "What are you doing, Sandy?" Ray stammered, backing away. "What does it look like?" Sandy stepped closer to him and said, "I want you, Ray. I always have. Stop it. I'm just here to fix the sink." "This isn't right," Ray responded. Sandy's eyes narrowed as she asked, "Are you going to sleep with me or not?" "No, absolutely not," Ray firmly replied. "Pamela's your sister, for Christ's sake. I love her." "Fine," Sandy spat. "Have it your way. But if you don't give me what I want, I'll tell Pamela you tried to force yourself on me." "Who do you think she'll believe?" Ray bolted from the house. He tried calling Pamela, but got no answer. At work that night, he could barely focus, his thoughts consumed by Sandy's threat and what it might mean for his marriage. When Ray got home the next morning, Sandy's car was in the driveway. Inside, he found Bob hastily pulling up his pants, Sandy smirking from the couch, and Pamela looking scared and very drunk. "What the hell is going on here?" Ray roared. He lunged at Bob, fists flying. In the chaos that followed, someone hit Ray from behind. Everything went black. Ray woke up in the hospital with a pounding headache. A police officer stood by his bed, explaining that Ray had a concussion from being hit with a vase. Apparently, charges against Ray had been dropped. Bob claimed self-defense, saying Ray had come home in a rage and attacked him. Pamela didn't remember much, just Ray shouting. The whole thing was a mess, not at all what Ray expected when he went to Sandy's that morning. "I have nothing to say," Ray told the officer. "You're lucky, Mr. Harper," the cop said. "No charges were filed, but I suggest you really think about your actions." After the officer left, Ray's head hurt, both from the injury and from trying to understand what had happened. He couldn't stay with a cheater, but he needed answers. He called his sister Amy to come pick him up. Just then his phone rang. It was Pamela. "Do you want me to come get you? We need to talk now that we're even." Ray's blood boiled. "Even? You slept with Bob. Amy's coming to get me. I'll grab my stuff and leave." "Leave?" Pamela cried. "Ray, I was just trying to get back at you for what you did with Sandy." At home, Ray confronted Pamela. "Sandy told me you forced yourself on her," Pamela accused. "That's a lie," Ray replied quickly. "She came on to me and threatened to lie if I didn't sleep with her. I left right away." Pamela's eyes filled with anger and pain. "Why should I believe you?" she asked. "Why would my own sister lie about that?" "Because she's jealous," Ray exclaimed. "She and Bob are swingers. They wanted to get you involved. You let Bob have you, and as far as I'm concerned, our marriage is over." "No, I only did it to get even," Pamela protested. Sandy knew details about what happened between you two. Ray's face twisted in disgust. Your sister's nothing but a whore. I slept with her back in high school, just like half the guys in town. But that was years ago, before I even met you. Pamela's eyes welled with tears. I don't know what to believe anymore. This isn't just about Bob, Ray said coldly. It's about trust. If I'd really raped Sandy, why didn't she go to the police? Face it, Pamela. You wanted Bob, and you used me as an excuse. No, Ray, I love you, Pamela sobbed. Love doesn't include sleeping with other people, Ray spat. I'm filing for divorce on Monday. Wait, this isn't how it was supposed to happen, Pamela begged, but Ray ignored her as he packed his suitcase. Tell the kids whatever you want. I don't want to see or talk to you, Ray said. Amy can handle visits with Kyle and Kayla. The next few weeks were a blur for Ray. He worked long hours and stayed in cheap motels, trying to rebuild his life. He met with a lawyer and filed for divorce. One day, Ray picked up a sick Kyle from school. While at the house getting some of Kyle's things, the phone rang. It was Sandy. Ray hit record on his cell phone, capturing Sandy's confession that she had lied about the assault and revealing Bob's involvement in the whole scheme. After Ray left with Kyle, his phone exploded with calls and texts from Pamela, apologizing profusely and begging forgiveness. But for Ray, it was too late. Her willingness to believe the worst about him, to throw away their marriage so easily, had irreparably damaged his trust. On the day the divorce was to be finalized, Ray signed the papers with a heavy heart. Afterward, he headed to a nearby bar to drown his sorrows. By chance, he spotted Bob across the room. All the anger and pain of the past months came rushing back. Ray unleashed his fury, beating Bob until he was a crumpled mess on the floor. You son of a bitch, Ray shouted as three guys yanked him off Bob. He thrashed wildly as they dragged him outside, where police officers slammed him to the ground and cuffed him. This time, there would be no drop charges. Ray was headed to prison. With his one phone call, Ray contacted Amy. I really screwed up this time, sis, he said wearily. Don't bother with bail. I'm just going to do my time. He could hear Amy crying as he hung up the phone. Over the next 2 months, Pamela tried repeatedly to visit Ray in jail, but he refused to see her. When his court date came, Ray pled guilty to assault charges. The judge sentenced him to 2 years, with time served already counted. Ray, Pamela still loves you, Amy said during a visit. Her whole family is angry about Sandy's lies, and Pamela never signed the final divorce papers. You're going to jail, still married. The first 2 months in jail were tough. Ray ended up in the infirmary twice, trying to prove himself. His cellmate was a lifer called Killer, rumored to have stabbed his cheating wife and her lover 80 times. He'd even killed another inmate the year before. But eventually, Ray got into a tense routine. Killer even started talking to Ray, sharing stories about his own fall from grace. On Visitor's Day, Ray was shocked to see Pamela waiting for him. What are you doing here? Ray, I love you, Pamela sobbed, sliding photos of the kids across the table. I made terrible mistakes, but I'll wait for you. We can get through this if you still love me. Ray stood and walked away without a word, leaving Pamela crying at the visitor's window. That night, Ray overheard other inmates plotting to attack Killer. The wary of being labeled a snitch, Ray felt compelled to warn his cellmate. Killer eyed Ray suspiciously, but took precautions. The next day, Killer outsmarted his would-be attacker. He'd hidden books under his shirt, deflecting the makeshift knife. Killer's crew swarmed the assailant, beating him severely before guards intervened. Through it all, Killer calmly finished his dinner as if nothing had happened. After that incident, Killer and Ray developed an unlikely friendship. In the privacy of their cell, Killer revealed a softer side. Asking about Pamela and the kids, he spoke wistfully of his own grown children, who never visited, save for his youngest daughter, Anna. She knows her mother was the one who destroyed our family, Killer confided. She writes to me every week, but I won't let her visit. It's not safe here, Ray said. Killer's face lit up with pride as he talked about his daughter Anna and her growing law career. In return, Ray shared the story of Sandy's betrayal and his mixed feelings about Pamela. Do you still love her? Killer asked directly. Ray sighed. Yeah, I do. But I hate what she did to our family. Does she still love you? She says she does, Ray replied. But I don't know if I can ever forgive her. Killer fixed Ray with a piercing stare. Why the hell not? Look around you, kid. You've hit rock bottom. If a woman loved me enough to wait for me in a place like this, I'd be the happiest man alive. But what about the mistrust? The infidelity? Killer barked out a harsh laugh. Hell, you killed for the same damn reason I did. Take it from me. Don't hold on to grudges. It'll kill you slowly from the inside out. Killer's words stuck with Ray, forcing him to examine his own heart. What would he do when he got out? No job, no future, no family. The prospect was terrifying. A month later, Pamela visited again. The kids miss you so much, she said. Is there any chance we could be a family again? I'll do whatever it takes, Pamela said. Ray hesitated. I want to forgive you, Pamela, but every time I close my eyes, I see you with Bob. I hated every second of it, Pamela insisted. When I saw your face that night, I felt sick. I'd do anything to take it all back. Ray's resolve started to weaken. But a few weeks later, Amy visited with bad news. I drove by the house yesterday, she said. I saw Sandy and Bob's cars in the driveway. Confusion and anger filled Ray's mind. Had Pamela been lying to him all along? Around this time, Killer offered to help Ray with his parole hearing, saying he had past experience as a lawyer. Though Ray was unsure, he respected Killer and decided to trust him. When Ray faced the parole board, they questioned him about how he had adjusted to prison life and his plans after release. Ray answered honestly, mentioning his sister's offer of a place to stay and that his old job would take him back. What do you think your chances are of returning to prison? One board member asked pointedly. I never want to see the inside of these walls again, Ray vowed. As Ray returned to his cell, Killer asked how the hearing had gone. Ray shrugged, uncertain what his future held. I told them what you suggested, Ray replied. Was that really you pulling strings to get me out early? Killer chuckled. You never know, kid. But if you do get sprung ahead of schedule, I'll be expecting that weekly pack of smokes on my commissary account. A few days later, Pamela showed up for another visit. Someone from the parole board came by the house, she said nervously. Are you getting out soon? What did they want? Ray pressed. What did you tell them? Just checking how we're settling in if you'd be able to live there, Pamela explained. I told them we're separated, but that I'd love to have you back home. Ray's eyes narrowed. You told me you'd stop seeing Sandy. Is that true? Pamela shifted uneasily. She's still my sister, Ray. I don't see her much, but... And what about Bob? Ray cut her off. Seen him lately? Why are you asking me these questions? Because I can't trust a word you say, Ray snapped. You promised you were done with Sandy, but she and Bob were at the house. Did something happen with Bob again? Is that why you're so worried about me getting paroled? It's not like that, Ray. I can explain, save it, Ray snarled. Tell your damn lover that when I get out, I'm going to finish what I started that night at the bar. And if you're fooling around behind my back again, I'll deal with you too. Pamela fled from the visitor's room in tears. Ray's suspicions had been confirmed. He was headed right back into the same mess that had landed him in prison to begin with. He didn't really want to kill anyone, but he'd be damned if he didn't scare them good and proper. That night, Ray called his sister Amy and asked her to visit as soon as possible. When she arrived the next day, he spilled everything about his conversation with Pamela. Amy sighed. Oh, Ray, I'm so sorry. I had no idea things were still so complicated with Pamela. Ray nodded grimly. I need to know what's really going on. Can you keep an eye on the house? See who's coming and going? Of course, Amy assured him. I'll do whatever I can to help. As Amy was leaving, she paused. By the way, the parole board contacted me too. They wanted to know if you could stay with us if you get out early, Amy said. Ray's eyebrows shot up. What did you tell them? That you're always welcome, of course. Kenny agrees too. Thanks, sis. I don't know what I'd do without you. Oh, and they also called Mr. Parker about your old job, Amy added. Really? Ray asked. What did he say? Amy smiled. He said you can have your old position back. Said you were one of his best workers. For the first time in months, Ray felt a glimmer of hope. I appreciate everything, Amy. I just pray I don't get rejected. You won't, Amy said confidently. With housing and a job lined up, they told me you'll likely be out next month. Tears welled in Ray's eyes as he hugged his sister goodbye. True to Amy's prediction, Ray got the call a week later. He was being released the following week. Strangely, he was told to meet with a lawyer rather than a parole officer. Apparently, some high-powered law firm had arranged his early release. As Ray packed his meager belongings, he thanked Killer profusely, promising to send those weekly cigarettes. He wasn't sure if the old man had actually pulled any strings, but it seemed worth the gesture either way. When Ray stepped outside the prison gates, Amy was waiting with tears in her eyes. They hugged tightly before heading to her house, where Kenny welcomed Ray warmly. "So, what now?" Amy asked as they settled in the living room. "I guess I need to call Pamela and set up a time to see the kids. I promise I won't cause any trouble," Ray said. When Ray called, Pamela agreed to let him visit, but warned she'd call the cops if there was any trouble. Ray assured her he just wanted to see his children. The reunion with Kyle and Kayla was emotional. The kids ran to Ray, shouting, "Daddy, Daddy, you're back." He hugged them tightly, amazed at how much they had grown. On the porch afterward, things were tense between Ray and Pamela. "What do you want, Ray?" she asked cautiously. "We're not a family anymore. I'm trying to move on with my life. These are my kids too," Ray said firmly. "I want to be part of their lives. I was ready to forgive you, but you lied to me again." Running back to Bob and Sandy, Pamela's eyes flashed. "Ray, you were in prison. I was lonely." "Save it." Ray cut her off. "I know you've been sleeping together. I don't care who you're screwing anymore. But if my kids are exposed to that perverted lifestyle, I'll take them away from you. And that's not an empty threat. Ray, I would never do anything to hurt my children." "Right. You already wrecked our family over damn Bob. I'm making sure my kids stay clear of people like that. Tomorrow, I'm seeing my lawyer about my rights as their father." Pamela's face crumpled. "Please, Ray. It's not what you think," but Ray was already walking away. He had said what he needed to say. Now he had to focus on rebuilding his life and being there for his children. The next day, Ray went to the law office that had arranged his release. "I have an appointment with Mr. A.J. Brady," he told the receptionist. She smiled and said, "Miss Brady will be with you shortly." Ray looked puzzled. The card had definitely said A.J. A few minutes later, a stunning woman in a sharp blue suit approached. "Mr. Harper? I'm A.J. Brady," she said, extending her hand. "Please, come into my office so we can discuss your situation." Ray followed her, fascinated. Once they were seated, A.J. explained, "A mutual friend asked me to review your case. Your previous lawyer failed you badly. There were important details that weren't properly considered." "Why me? Who hired you?" Ray asked. A.J.'s eyes shone with emotion. "My father, Dave. You might know him better as Killer." Ray's jaw dropped. "You're Anna? His favorite daughter?" She smiled. "Angelina Juanita Brady at your service. Now let's discuss your case over lunch, shall we?" As they ate at a quiet restaurant, A.J. briefed Ray on his parole officer and requirements. When Ray tried to learn more about her personally, she gently deflected. "Ray, it wouldn't be appropriate to discuss my personal life with a client." "You're the most beautiful woman I've ever seen," Ray blurted. "Those dimples when you smile." A.J. blushed. "Ray, I told you I don't date clients, but thank you. Now let's get back to your case. At least tell me about your legal background." Ray pressed. "As your client, don't I have a right to know?" She fought a smile. "All right, fine. Law degree on full scholarship. I've specialized in criminal law for years now." They finished lunch, during which Ray found himself completely captivated by Anna. "Will I see you again?" Ray asked hopefully as they were getting ready to leave. "Next week, to go over some parole paperwork," she replied. "We could have lunch again if you'd like." "My treat this time." "Sounds great," Ray said with a grin. "Remember, it's just business," Anna said firmly, though she couldn't quite hide her smile. Back at her office, Ray held her hand a moment too long when they said goodbye. He hoped she didn't think he was just a weird ex-con. As he left, he told her how much he was looking forward to next week. Anna's secretary gave Ray a knowing grin as he departed. He supposed most lawyers weren't quite like Anna. For the next 2 Mondays, Ray met with Anna as scheduled. She tried to keep things strictly professional, but Ray sensed a growing connection between them. 1 week later, Anna informed Ray that their business was concluded. "So you're not my lawyer anymore?" "Of course I am. You can always call if you need me." "In that case, Anna, I'm firing you," Ray said. "What?" "After everything I've done for you, For free? Anna replied, surprised. Yeah, Ray nodded. You don't date clients, and I want to take you on a real date, dinner, dancing, the whole thing. I know I'm just an ex-con and a factory worker, but I want to get to know you. And I think you want that too. Ray, I am attracted to you. But what will people think? Who cares what anyone thinks? Ray said, give me one date. Follow your heart for once. Anna sighed. God, I know I shouldn't, but okay. One date. And don't you dare expect to sleep with me. That's Saturday. Ray borrowed his sister's car and picked Anna up at her apartment. She looked stunning in a little black dress. Over wine and a fancy dinner, Ray asked about Anna's past. My parents split up when I was 14, she explained. Dad's been in prison for 14 years now. My siblings and I were raised by various relatives. They still can't forgive Dad for what he did. I'm the one who told him about Mom's affair. Sometimes I wonder if I just kept my mouth shut. Anna, you're not responsible for your father's actions, Ray said gently. You were just a kid trying to do the right thing. Anna nodded, blinking back tears. After Dad went to prison, I became determined to become a lawyer. I thought maybe I could help get his sentence reduced. That's why I chose criminal law. But it turns out there wasn't much I could do in his case. He was a pretty good lawyer himself back then. He always said he was proud of me for following in his footsteps, even if I couldn't do much for his case. Have you ever been married before? Or is that off limits too? Anna smiled. Both. It was brief, and it's none of your business. Ray, can we save the heavy stuff for another time? I'm enjoying our evening. Care to dance? I got 2 left feet, Ray admitted, but I'll take any excuse to hold you close. They swayed to a few slow songs, Ray breathing in Anna's scent and daring to kiss her hair. Ray, I don't date much, Anna confessed. My social circle has left me wary of most men. If your dad hadn't sent you my way, I probably wouldn't be here right now. Remind me to send him an extra pack of smokes, Ray joked. Anna, you're the best thing that's come my way in a long time. I'll do whatever it takes to earn your trust. If I ever overstep, just say the word. At her door that night, they shared a kiss that left Anna staring at Ray in wonder. She leaned in for another. Can I come in? Not tonight, Ray. It's too soon. Call me on Thursday about next Saturday. Ray left a very happy man. They met the next 2 Saturdays as well. Anna started to share more about herself. Ray, if we're going to keep seeing each other, you should know more about my past, she said one night. I was married in college. I got pregnant, and we rushed to get married. We were way too young. I miscarried, and we divorced soon after. I kept Brady as my last name to distance myself from my father's name, Miller. Anna, would you like to join our family barbecue next Saturday? Ray asked. Meet my sister and the kids. Anna hesitated, knowing it was a big step. Then she kissed Ray deeply for the first time. Okay, Ray, she smiled. Count me in. What can I bring? Ray still saw his kids every weekend. They told him their mom was dating a teacher named Pat. Ray was wary at first, but the kids seemed to like Pat and his young daughter. When Ray asked Pamela about it, she said, I'm really trying to turn my life around, Ray. Pat's a good guy. He knows all about you and respects that you're their father. Ray nodded. Pamela, your lies ruined us. If you care about this man, be honest with him. Don't mess it up like you did with us. Ray found a small apartment about a mile from Pamela and the kids. It had 2 bedrooms so the kids could stay over on weekends. He still visited Amy's place often for meals and to see the family. One morning as Ray made French toast, he turned to Anna. Will you marry me? Ray asked. Tears filled Anna's eyes. What's wrong? Ray asked, worried. I'm just thinking about my dad, she said. He won't be able to walk me down the aisle. A few days later, when Anna visited Ray at work, his smile faded when he saw her tears. What's wrong? He asked, concerned. I called the prison, she said quietly. My dad can't leave to come to our wedding. His life sentence means just that. It's out of my hands. I'm sorry, Anna, Ray said, pulling her close as she cried. Her father's cancer had returned, giving him only months to live. Ray felt helpless, wondering why life was so cruel to this good person. Anna, I've been buying your dad cigarettes, Ray confessed. It was our deal. It's okay, Ray. He trades them for other things. You didn't cause this, she assured him. Ray had an idea, but kept quiet, not wanting to raise false hope. After saying goodbye to Anna, he went straight to the prison, determined to speak with Killer and the warden. Killer smiled when he saw Ray. "Take care of my girl, son. She deserves better than an old con like me." Ray pitched his plan. Killer hesitated, but agreed if Ray could convince the warden. The warden was skeptical. "You want to get married in prison just so her father can attend?" "Yes, sir," Ray replied. "She hasn't seen him in 14 years. He's dying. We only need the chapel for an hour," Anna explained. The warden agreed, but with strict conditions. Ray hurried back to tell Killer, who gave him a bank account number for Anna. When Ray reached Anna's office, he shared the news. "How about getting married in prison?" Anna's tears of joy said it all. "God, I love you, Ray." They went to the bank, where Anna opened a safety deposit box. Inside were a letter from her father, her mother's engagement ring, and bonds to pay for the wedding. It was a bittersweet moment. Second story. "So, my girlfriend is pretty private. She's 21, and I'm 32. We've been together for 2.5 years. Recently, I noticed her Instagram followers increased, which was unusual since her follower count hadn't changed in months. While we were out for dinner, I joked about it and guessed the new follower was a guy from her college who helped her with some exam. She said nothing happened between them, but I noticed she liked almost all of his pictures. 8 out of 10. I got upset and went home. We didn't talk for a couple of days, and when I called her, she broke up with me over the phone, saying I caused her stress during her exams. To give more context, she's very stressed about university because she's from another town with high living costs, and her parents aren't well off. I've been covering a lot of her expenses and university costs, while she told her parents she got a scholarship. Up until then, we seemed very much in love, so her decision shocked me. I'm wondering if I caught her in something and she's just defending herself, or if there's more to it. Thanks to everyone who shared their thoughts. Update. Just to clarify, I was initially against the relationship because of the age gap, but she was interested in me from the start. We got along well, so there was no baby trapping involved, and I'm not looking to have children right now. Regarding her lying to her parents, we decided it was better for her to stay in the capital for her studies because her parents' lack of funds would have forced her to move back to a rural area, which would have been detrimental to her mental health. My financial support was out of love, not control. I'm not insecure. I'm from a small Eastern European country and have done well in business, so I'm around women often. The fact that she kept her new acquaintance a secret from me is strange, especially since I've encouraged her to make more friends from university. Thanks for all your opinions.